I have a sneaky feeling that Arsenal might make 3 forward signings this summer. And on the surface, that sounds ludicrous because we've only made 3 forward signings, permanent forward signings at least, in the past 5 years. So to do another 3 in one window would be mental. But just walk with me. Just hear me out for the next 10 minutes. Before we get into it, of course, I'm going to ask you to subscribe down below. Free to do. Click the like button. Massively helps me out as we try and get to 17,000 subscribers. But we'll start here. The idea that ultimately we are going to make several signings this summer. That's the first thing. Declan Rice after the game at the weekend. Hopefully we strengthen in the summer. We sign more players because we're probably going to lose a few. With the team we've got, with the manager we've got, we need to be competing for titles. Next year we'll be back. But he immediately suggesting multiple signings. Mikel Arteta, time to go to the beach, enjoy a few days and hope the guys upstairs do what they have to do. We've seen Josh Kroenke in this picture before the game, speaking about the investment that they were planning on making this summer, knowing where we needed to strengthen. And then this today, this came from Hand of Arsenal, who for me is the best in the know on Twitter and the most responsible with his information. He said, the Arsenal summer transfer strategy to address our attack has been for Andrea Berta to lay the groundwork on multiple targets and then pull the trigger on the players they unanimously agree on, unlike last summer, where they had to begrudgingly sign Sterling on loan due to limited alternatives. The narrative that Berta is using the media to misdirect is false. He has spoken to more than 15 attackers to my knowledge, and leaks are inevitable. Now, there's a couple of things here. Firstly, very quickly, I'm slightly concerned that we're not going to pull the trigger on Viktor Gyökeres. That whilst Andrea Berta might want him and has spoken to him, and that's where those leaks are coming from, if there's not a unanimous agreement, we won't go for him. And I don't know for sure, but there might not be, because last summer there wasn't unanimous agreement on him because they chose Sesko over Gyökeres effectively last summer. But the second thing here is this. 15 attacking players have been spoken to already. Now, if you were only going for a striker and a left winger this summer, are there really 8 strikers and 7 left wingers that you could have spoken to that are at the level that we would be looking to buy? Or would it make perhaps more sense if you'd kind of spoken to 5 right wingers and 5 strikers and 5 left wingers? Of course, not specific numbers, but if 15 players was spread across 3 positions, that would make a little bit more sense to me. Maybe I'm clutching at straws here. Maybe I am. Hand of Arsenal went on to say, one example of this is Rodrigo. Berta inquired weeks ago through intermediaries to understand his personal terms. The player will speak to Xabi Alonso before deciding his future. Real Madrid would demand north of 80 million. One thing for sure, Andrea has provided the club with options. The final decisions will always be unanimous. And that was what I was saying about, Viktor Gyökeres. But where I'm looking at this attack going, I feel like we might actually need 3 attacking players. Now, the future of Leandro Trossard is still undecided. Andrea Berta recently held talks with his camp. Very open situation as of today. That was posted yesterday. And after the game, Leandro Trossard's wife posted a few things on Instagram stories that the captions kind of suggested that it might be the last time she sees them, kind of suggested it might be her last time at the Emirates. And I'm certain one of Trossard and Martinelli gets sold, and I think Trossard makes more sense. And then if you start looking at our attack going into next season, the attack that we've got now is already massively light. We know that. So even from a starting point of what we've got, it was hugely lightweight. But suddenly I'm looking at going into next season and the start of next season, and it looks like this. If you ignore the academy players, because one of those will be Waneri. That's the one player that's for some reason not on this graphic that will be, right? Jesus isn't going to be fit at the start of the season. He's probably not going to be fit until the end of 2025. And even then, I truly don't believe we'll ever see Jesus at a level that works for us again. He's done both of his knees. It sounds like the ACL injury he did this time was brutal in terms of not just being ACL, but other damage, which is why he'll be out until the end of this year, which would be kind of a 12-month absence. Sterling obviously goes back to Chelsea and you lose Trossard. So if you've got Martinelli, Saka, Havertz, and then Ethan Waneri, who's kind of an Ødegaard, Saka backup, still very young. If you went and compared that to Liverpool, who have got Salah, Chiesa, Darwin, Jota, Gakpo, Diaz, that's 6. Then you can add in a Harvey Elliott, 7. That's 7 senior attacking players, 6 of whom are out-and-out attacking players. We'd be starting next season with 3. Now, you might have to bite the bullet on Jesus because he's on 265 grand a week, and that's unfortunate. You might just have to say, for this season, we're going to have to commit far more wages than we'd like to attacking players because Jesus is largely going to be unavailable and is on big wages. But I look at that and I go, you need to sign a striker, and we know we're going to sign a striker. You need to sign a left winger, and it sounds like we're going to sign a left winger. But I also think you need to sign a right winger. Bryan Mbeumo. We've been linked to him now twice in January and this summer. Pledged a goal back in January. Understand that Bryan Mbeumo's on Arsenal's transfer shortlist for the potential summer transfer. The Gunners are looking to strengthen their wing position. Brentford's star player's under contract till 2026. By the way, that makes him cheap. 1 year left on his deal. And then a couple of days ago, Team News and Ticks. After the data team identified him last summer, Arsenal are targeting Bryan Mbeumo again. I'm told talks are progressing, but they aren't the only team in for him. Now, you're not bringing Mbeumo in as anything other than a right wing option. Effectively, he's not played at left wing this season, and so I think it makes sense if you go Havertz, Sesko, Gyökeres, Martinelli, Nico Williams, Saka, and Mbeumo. I think that makes sense as a balanced attack. And Mbeumo, 25 years old, he'll be 26 this summer. To me, he kind of represents the next Trossard in a way, or the next Jesus. But in reality, you need to replace both of them. And we're still trying to replace Nketiah from last season. So I just look at it, I go, if we're going to spend lots of money, and we're really going to promote the attack in a way that we can compete with Liverpool and City. Again, you look at City. Haaland, Marmoush, Savio, Doku, Grealish, Foden. And they're looking at bringing in another attacking player this summer. Bernardo Silva, I guess you could throw in there as another attacking player. They've all got 6 or 7 senior attacking players. And if we're going to have that, we're going to need to sign 3 of them. And I go back to this. One example being Rodrigo. North of 80 million. Well, if we're going for Rodrigo, and we know we're going for a striker as well, Rodrigo is probably going to be close to 100 million. But if we're in that race, that means we're willing to commit 100 million on top of the striker. Now, if we got Rodrigo, I wouldn't expect us to then get a third attacking player. For me, Rodrigo would be the one where you go, okay, we're going to commit more budget here to one player, but he's absolutely comfortable playing off the right and the left and through the middle. But if you don't commit to him, but you've got the budget to do him, well then, instead of spending 100 million on Rodrigo, you can do 50 million on Mbeumo and 50 million on Nico Williams and get your striker. It's the same cost. Slightly more in wages, admittedly, just because of how much Nico Williams' wages are. But overall, I just feel like it's not beyond the realms of possibility that that's what we're looking at. Because otherwise, I don't see how you bring in Mbeumo unless that means you keep hold of Trossard and Martinelli. And you bring in Mbeumo as kind of effectively just the Jesus replacement for next season, and you bring in a striker. But I feel like that would actually be quite underwhelming. Purely because if we end up in a position where our left-hand side is still just Martinelli and Trossard, and we know that's not good enough, and we know to start getting the best out of Bukayo Saka, you need someone on the other side that draws the attention of the opposition. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. But I've just got this feeling that we're just going to revamp the whole attack this summer. You know, in the same way that, like, again, and by the way, Liverpool are not a team that spends much money. But when they need to rebuild a certain area of the pitch, they do it. And that's what they did with their midfield when they brought in Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai. That was their midfield this season. I feel like if we're being proactive, you have to prepare to not have Jesus next season. Even if he comes back from that ACL in December, How long is it going to take before he gets back to like full speed after 12 months out? And will he ever? With an ACL injury for a player, it's not even like when, a Rodri does his ACL or a Van Dijk. Like, Jesus' whole game is revolved around his knees, pretty much. And the other one's already weak as well. So, yeah, I just feel like if we're proactive, if we're serious, we go and get 3 attacking players. And that would be proper business. But I don't know. You tell me. Let me know. If you've enjoyed the video, please do subscribe. Please do click that like button. I don't know what we're going to talk about tomorrow. I've got a few things that I want to talk about. And it depends what news comes out. Because I'm getting quite interested in the attacking signing. And I've got a bad feeling it's not going to be Victor Gyökeres as much as I am captain of the stream train. Anyway, I'm waffling. I'll catch you on the next one. I hope you all have a good evening. Please do like, please do subscribe, and goodbye.